Hello and welcome to GUS 5162. That's Advanced Spatial Statistics for Urban Applications. I always forget the name of the class. My name's Charlie Kaler, and I am now an adjunct in the Department of Geography and Urban Studies. I was a full-time member of faculty until a little less than a year ago, while I was teaching this course last summer. I accepted a position at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, where I now run the Geographic Information Systems Laboratory and teach courses not unlike this one. I'll mention this in our introductory remarks to one another in a separate presentation, but I like teaching this course a lot in the summertime because it's a chance to sort of slow down and focus on one thing and focus on something that's really interesting and quickly changing. Now, the purpose of this video is mostly to give you an overview of how this course is going to work, and so I'm going to direct your attention to the syllabus. In the syllabus, which is located on our Blackboard site, first I'll talk about both the syllabus and the organization of the course. I just want to direct your attention to the syllabus where you can find the formal policies for this class. There are going to be a few things subject to change. For example, I see here it still says 2021. I'm going to make a few other edits as well, but a lot of this course is the most interesting parts of the syllabus will be the flow of what we're going to be doing during the course of the semester. At the syllabus, you can find the standard boilerplate material, but I also have included some things about getting your hands on R and RStudio, links to our course technologies right here. We're going to be making extensive use of computer programs, namely the R statistical program by way of RStudio. This may be a novelty to a lot of you. And so the first thing I want to point out, and I'll do this by way of the Modules tab, and I'll just preface what I'm saying by saying this is where I organize the course. So if you want to find out where the stuff is, this is the place to look. And you'll see that right now, what's already available to you, or should be, is an introductory module in which I'm giving you information about the course and information about the course software. And I have our first assignment, which is an introduction. Everybody's going to introduce themselves to one another. That's what's going to happen here at the very beginning of the semester. There's some information about various campus resources, and then we're going to dive right into the first module. So you can see here that I'm asking you to watch and comment on my first set of comments by the 12th of May. We'll be doing this by way of VoiceThread. I'll have more to say about that. And then we have a first assignment, which is learning how just to find our way in R. I'll have a lot more to say about this as we go forward. I organize information in modules around content pages. So within each module, you'll see these numbered pages, 2, 2B. These are basically the order in which we're going to be going through material. And if you click on a content page, you'll see I have a link to that same VoiceThread discussion. I have the slides themselves, and then I have some demos on getting up and running in R. So you'll see information for using graphics capabilities in R, things like that. So this is the first thing we're going to be doing, is just getting our feet a little bit wet and getting accustomed to using R. And the way I introduce that is I think it's easier to use R in a specific way, which is to answer specific questions. And you'll see my take on that shortly. Now, if you return to modules, what you'll see is I've kind of presupposed that some of you will have some experience with R and some will be brand new to it. And so what we're going to be doing in the first 3 content modules, and that takes us well into June, so about a month into the class, is just getting accustomed to R and using R to explore things that I assume you kind of already know, which will be multiple regression. We're going to do some things on how to do multiple regression in R, soup to nuts, including post-regression diagnostics. And then we'll talk about variations on the regression theme, like model specification tools that include some machine learning, riffs on regression like logistic modeling. And then in Module 3, I'm going to have y'all play around with this and actually take a look at some additional riffs on regression. So in that module, I'm going to break you into groups and have some people look at principal components analysis, some people look at factor analysis, some people will look at multi-level modeling or hierarchical linear modeling. It goes by multiple names. Anyway, just diving into those enough to introduce them conceptually, and then we're going to leave them alone. I just want to point out that there's a lot that can be done unspatially, aspatially, before we start talking about what we call here in Module 4 the spatial turn. This is when we'll start talking about the main gist of our semester, which is how we treat and deal with spatial dependence in our data and in our modeling. Now that takes multiple forms. There are multiple tools involved, different types of analytical techniques. And so sequentially, and I've worked out the sequence over time, we'll begin this by talking about spatial econometric models, sort of the classic spatial regression models. Then we'll talk about geographically weighted regression in the 5th module. We'll look at various tools of interpolation in the 6th module. Now, each of these modules, take a look at the sequence of events, is going to be roughly 2 weeks. This will get us through the entire semester with a little time left over to work on your individual term projects. Now, during the semester, and you can see sort of sequentially starting in July sometime, I'm going to have you begin to think about your term project. And in stages, I'm going to give you about a month and change to get your hands on data, to start thinking about your interests and how we might address those, at least in a simple way, with data that are conveniently available. If you happen to have access to other data, we can talk about that. If you have no idea what you want your project to be on, we're buying you a little time so we can think about that collectively. So you'll see that there's a sequence of due dates with that term project culminating in the actual project itself at the end of the semester. So that's the basic sequence of events and a little bit of information on how to find your way around in this course. Again, my recommendation is when you're looking for material, go to the modules page and let the content pages be your guide. I'll be releasing these things as we flow through them. Sometimes, as you can see, some modules haven't been released yet. Trying to keep us all kind of on the same page as we go through this. So I'll be releasing these as we arrive at them. If you ever have a desire to see ahead a little bit, I can release them sooner than that, so you can just let me know. This basic flow is contained in the syllabus, I'll just point out. So in the document somewhere here, I talk a little bit about, here we are, you can see the flow of assignments, the summary of when things are due, and that'll give you some indication of what we're encountering and when. So hopefully that gives you some idea about what this course is about. If you have questions, feel free to ask.